What's up, everybody? It's your favorite better late than never's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the Takara MPG09 Super Ginrai, or as you may know him, Powermaster Prime. I know I'm a little late to the party here. There's a lot of people that have worked hard to try to get this to me. Unfortunately, there were things beyond our control that prevented that, but I do have it now. It's on loan to me currently from Kevin R. I'm anxious to take a look at it, especially after handling that Takara Rodimus, which is all part of their like T-Spark rollout, of which this is a member of. I'm anxious to see what they've got in the wing, or in this case in the trailer, if you will. So let's go ahead and take a look at it, but in order to do so, we need to first take a look at accessories. So he comes with two alternate hands. These are red fingers and blue backs of the hands. I think the other ones are just all blue. I think that these come installed on the figure when you get him, and you can swap these out for the all blue, which Kevin R has already taken the liberty of doing, but you do get them. What good is a couple extra hands without a couple extra heads? And this one has the red eyes that are painted, and then this one has the blue eyes that are painted. Other than that, these two head sculpts seem to be pretty similar, and then obviously there's a head sculpt installed on them. And like I said, I'm not entirely sure which comes standard and which comes stock and which come extra, because he has already made adjustments to his as he sees fit, and it's certainly not up to me to change any of that. But silver paint on the face looks good, as does the silver paint on the crest. You get two of these dual blasters. They're just cast in like that kind of spirally gray plastic, which is unfortunate, but they are sculpted nice. I believe in vehicle mode, they're intended to go here on the side of the arms. And these double barrel rifles are meant to go in to your base mode here. And there's 5mm ports all over this thing. I'll show you where everything's supposed to go, but you can put it wherever you want, right? And sure, you bought it, your choice. These are meant to go on the shoulders, I believe, in super robot mode. You get two large blasters. They are identical. We'll take a look at one. Sculpted brilliantly. Beautiful sculpted detailing work put into these. They're just black plastic, but you can flip the handle down. Once that handle is flipped down, they are meant to plug into the top here. And then there's space for both of them, and they can articulate up and down. In base mode, the larger weapons are meant to plug in to the side of the shoulder facing forward. He can hold the gun just fine by inserting the tab into the palm of the hand in typical Masterpiece fashion, and then wrapping the fingers around it. But I have a hard time seeing it from this angle. There we go. Wrapping the fingers around it. To go with your two big rifles, you can have two identical smaller rifles. Once again, sculpted beautifully. Once again, black plastic. Once again, these bits fold down. They, too, can go in the top here if you so prefer the smaller blaster look. There's also an extra port here at the front. It will, I think, impede your vehicle from turning, but no, it doesn't actually. So yeah, you could have them anti-aircraft, you know what I mean? Now, the smaller bot is obviously meant to hold the smaller gun and just tab in to the palm of his hand in typical Masterpiece fashion, and he'll hold it just fine. Now, in base mode, you're not supposed to utilize all the weapons, but I think it looks cool if you take this, plug it in here, and then rotate the forearm 180 degrees, and it kind of had like that stack behind it. I think it like follows through with the smokestack motif and looks cool. The smaller rifles can sit on his shoulder, as can all of them. They're all the same ports, right? So they can sit on his shoulder. They can also be stored on his back, and the larger rifles can be stored on his back as well. It's the same port system. You get two of these blast effects. They are a translucent plastic that go down to a more solid yellow. And you can use them with both size blasters, as well as your double barrel blaster, but obviously both won't fit on there at the same time. You also get these lightning bolt effects, and they are a translucent plastic. They go from a yellow to a clear to a pink to a clear to a blue, which is at least interesting. And they have these two adapter pieces on here. You can remove them. Once you'll have a peg here. That peg can be used with both size blasters as well as your double cannon. And these you can probably do both if you put them sideways. Now, if you don't take that piece off of the lightning bolt, you can plug that right here into the palm of his hand and hope that it stays. Or maybe you're supposed to plug it in here. No, I think it's supposed to go into the palm of his hand. And yes, then it will stay if you get it right. So I didn't know that he threw lightning bolts, but, you know, do it. The lightning will also peg into the palm of the hand in the kind of super robot mode, if you so desire. You have these two red plastic bits, a little bit of sculpted detail going on them. No paint, I don't think, that I can tell anyway. You see these two pegs here. Now, those red bits can be utilized here on the shoulder if you don't want to use any of the artillery. They come out to a nice angle, which I do think is very thoughtful. It's a thoughtful idea. I dig that. You also get his Powermaster, obviously. A fair bit of paint applications are actually applied to this guy. The face plate is painted with like a bleached bone, if you're a 40K guy. A blue visor is painted on. I think all of the white is actually painted. The two yellow accents, the turquoise accents or teal accents, and then the red Autobot symbol is actually a pad printed piece, which is insane. The arms are on little ball pegs. They go up to there and then around until you meet up with the backpack. The legs are on T-jointed ball joints, which get you out for the full Van Damme. Forward and back to there, a thigh swivel, a single hinge knee that gets you 90 degrees, and then you have an ankle tilt up and down, and that's about the extent. They also obviously transform. Just lift the arms up and then get the leg out to the side, spin it 90 degrees, rotate the foot in, rotate the leg up until it pegs into the side. Then you can bring the arm back down. Same on this side. Foot in, peg into the side, so to speak. Arm back down. Then you have the Powermaster, as it were, to which you can use this spring-loaded grill here. Let me see your grill. And plug this in to it. And now he's all Powermastered up, should that be your desire. There's also these two compartments in the back, which he can be stored in, as well as anything else that fits, honestly. But you can put him in there, and it's easy to just put him down. He has a second stationary little buddy doing the Wonder Woman pose, which is a little strange. I think it's only for one purpose. I'll alter that here if I see fit. But obviously it's a one piece of plastic that's cast, so all the paint applications that you see are in fact, or color variations that you see are in fact painted. I think it's a flat black plastic that it was cast in. Could have been white though, for what it's worth. It probably was white now, the more that I look at it. But I'm not sure. Either way, that means it's painted well, right? So he too can fit in the back of the trailer, obviously. But you can also undo these bits here on the cab. And then sort of lift this up and out. There's a little female connection there with a male connection at the tip of his, so to speak, base stand. And then you can... not do this elegantly, am I? You can peg him into that and then reconnect it all, and then you can have him in the cab. But then he's that's not the safest way to drive. I'm just gonna be honest, but you can do it if you'd like to. And then lastly, he comes with a stand adapter if you have the stand to adapt it to. Clear, flat, translucent plastic if you're interested. The adapter will plug in this way with two pegs into his backside. Like that. All right, so there it is next to Tiger Tracks, which is, I think, fine. All right, looks a little goofy next to the cab, but what are you gonna do? Other than that, there's not a whole lot to talk about. So the cab is small. That's also kind of a trait of Powermaster Primes, to have that small cab. I think it's actually cartoon accurate, for better or worse. You know, and people will check out their own sensibilities and choose whatever the machine tells them to like, right? And hey, who am I to buck the machine? Man versus machine in many ways, which is much like this review. So we have the chrome bumper here. That looks good. The headlights, that looks good. The yellow accents down there, that looks good. The silver bumper looks good. Dark blue translucent windows, which is fine. This piece here is a blue plastic with paint over top of it. As a result, it does look a little sloppy, and that's not because the paint has been applied poorly, mind you. It's just because they're doing the best they can. The trailer connects here. It comes in box with this piece flipped down. You just flip it up, connect it, you know. Chrome smokestacks, they look good. All the rivets and sculpted detail, I'm digging that. The trailer itself, you know, they got this going on. I think that's a accurate thing. I'm not exactly sure. It's not my particular favorite way of doing business, but that's what they got. And then you've seen these open up already. Here in the back, the silver, here is a fantastic silver paint application for what it's worth. And then the blue silver stripes here are sharp as a tack, as is this pad printed paint of the Autobot symbol. The trailer can stand alone. The tires are they're plastic, I think, and then the silver is on the hubcaps. And then these sort of jacks here can come down and support the weight. And you can have the cab pretty much by itself, which also rolls just fine independently. I'm not sure what else you would want to see. I can show you underneath. Definitely reveals most of the mystery there. This is a bit better. And yeah, that's about it. I think we should go ahead and get started. It's going to be a long one, so to speak. All right, let's get him transformed, and we'll start with this guy. Simply bring the legs down. That'll probably split them apart, but if they haven't, go ahead and split them. And tuck in these pieces that connect your trailer so that it just looks a little bit more uniformed. You can flip out the toes from the heel on both sides and then extend the ankles down. So then open up these side pieces here, just like we did to get the cab open. Actually, I got to get this guy out of here as well, which shouldn't be a problem. And then you have to disconnect these two pieces, and this is actually like kind of a pulling plastic against plastic situation. So like a KFC situation, or X-Transbots rather, or whichever. Then get the arm out, flip this over, tab it back in. These smokestacks you can have folded whichever way makes sense for vehicle mode. I'm not exactly sure which way it is, to be fair. But they do rotate. You can have on the outside. That's probably the best way. You can have on the inside. Doesn't matter. Whatever is right is the right choice. Or whatever you like is the right choice. Okay, so then straighten out the bicep. Close that flap. And then open this. Bring the hand out and close it. And you have one side done. So we're going to do the same thing on this side. We have to pull that piece. Once again, I don't like that. And then maneuver this stuff out. Then close this back up. Straighten out the bicep. That flap. Open this. Fold the hand out. Close it. And flip this up, spin it, flip this back down. While you're here, there's pieces that need to be flipped down inside the chest. So flip this piece down. It's like forms part of the side of the abdomen, and then this piece forward. There's two pieces in there. They both hinge basically forward. Here's another one on the other side. And they're this piece and that piece right there below it. All right, and then make sure the head is out of the way. Close this up. Make sure the arms are back. And what am I missing? Right, this piece here. So these pieces, so you can keep that folded forward to try to fill out the gap, because there is a gap there, which is obnoxious. But I think the proper transformation is to flip it up. And then, obviously, put the waist in the right location. And that's him. I'll clean it up. We'll take a look at it. And we'll get in tight on the head sculpt for Dennis. This is the third head sculpt, much more of a G1 kind of cartoon. His eye's got a little lazy eye. You see that? Right here? Like the paint on the eye doesn't go all the way up and cover that space in, which is a bummer. The head is on a hinge swivel. You get all the way up. Nothing really down. You do get the swivel. You can adjust the ears a little bit, I think. No, maybe not. So don't do that. And silver paint on the face and blue paint on the eyes, and individual results will vary on how well they're done. We have... Are those stickers? Ugh. So Kevin R. may have done that himself, I'm hoping. But not a fan. Not a fan. Anyway, the shoulders are double jointed, which is nice. So you'll get the full range up. Nothing to complain about there. And then you get 360 around, and then you do get a Abilify joint, but it doesn't plug in to the body. So like it's constantly like wobbling around. This guy is actually always wobbling around. Like the waist has a tendency to be a little wobbly. The shoulders are a little wobbly. He's a little wobbly. Wobbly, drop it like it's hot. Bicep swivel. Single hinged elbow that gets you the full range. That's masterfully done. Beautiful. Hinge on the wrist goes up and down, and you get the swivel at the wrist as well, and the fingers are on a base pin knuckle. And you get this little silver accent there. Not a lot of paint on this guy for a masterpiece. You get the chrome stomach. Whoa. A little bit behind the curtain there, you know what I mean? Waist swivel. Ab crunch, that's nice. Once again, this area looks completely unfinished, largely because it is unfinished. So I'm not a fan of that. The hip skirts do raise up. And the side tire skirts raise up as well. You do get those little yellow accents on the pelvis, which is nice. I'll take it. The hips are drop-down joints. Using the drop-down joint, you can get the leg for the full Monty. You can also get the full Van Damme. I think we have blue paint and silver paint on the hips and thighs. I'll take it. Looks good. Thigh swivel. Double jointed knee that gets you the full run. Interesting knee joint as well. And then we have black paint, it looks like, on the front vents here. And then ankles, you get an ankle tilt up. No ankle tilt down or toe tilt down. You do get... Oh, no, you do get a toe tilt down. You get a toe tilt down, so that'll help. And then you get a pretty well done rocker. So, yeah, mixed bag. You know, there he is from the back, which I don't know. I don't know much about this guy. I've never been a fan of this character, like this iteration of this character. But there it is. Choose your own adventure. Size comparison wise, there he is next to the G1 Masterpiece Prime from Magic Square. To give you an idea, like he's a little fella. As a matter of fact, I'm going to get a car bot to drive it home. There it is next to a car bot. So it's about a head taller than a Masterpiece car bot. That should really drive home the size that we're working with here. All right, so this one has a tendency to come up, but make sure you open this up. There's one. There's one. This bit comes up here. And then this piece folds around to the top, I believe. Let's see what we got here. This folds around. I don't hate having this, like this in truck mode. Looks like a little door to get into the side of the trailer. People will probably hate that, but I don't. Unpeg the arms from the side here. You can also pull this down and collapse that. We need to get these arms away. There we go. So we're going to do the same thing on this side. Fold that over. Pull this down. Rotate that back. Pull the arms away, and then you can fold these pieces up. We'll just get that out of the way for now. Let's see. Okay, on the back here, make sure your jacks are up. This piece flips over, and this piece double hinges down. This section comes up and over and pegs into the front. Up and over, pegs into the front. And this jacks come up, and this section rotates down. This is already flipped in. Open up your hip skirts here. Move your legs out to the side. separate the foot from this tire piece, and then rotate this entire section around, and then make sure that that's straight again. Same on this side. Up we go. Separate the foot from the tire piece, and then rotate it around. And then this section, fold down onto itself, separate that whole backpack, and then this sits underneath of him, you know, as we go to base mode. So now you have it like this. Fix the arms. And you can actually have these any way you want. And then flip this around to the opposite side. Take these panels, spin them over. Make sure that's all connected. If not, don't worry about it. You can fix it later. Ramp comes down on the side. So, try to make sure that's connected. Over, that down to the side. And that's it. I'll clean it up. We'll take a look at it. And there you have base mode, kind of all armored up. And once again, this isn't right. You're not supposed to have the two kind of smokestacks pointed up, you know, but I think it looks cooler, and I think it kind of carries through with the truck motif and everything. So, you know, it's up to you. I can show you real quick what it would look like also with Tiger tracks. You know, you can put that in there. Actually, yeah, I bet you could open these up. You know, I hate a lot on base modes, but I think I actually kind of like them. You know, and put like a Masterpiece car, and it fits perfectly. It actually almost like slots into place. So yeah, if you like base modes or whatever, this has a base mode. It historically has a base mode. It traditionally has a base mode. This one continues that motif and does it well enough. All right, so to get this ready, flip over this piece, flip over that piece, flip over this piece, flip over that piece, bring the legs down. The backpack sits back here as you would expect, and then this piece folds up and over, and then this top piece comes down. There's another joint that sits deeper inside of that gray bit, and I was actually wondering if, no, this doesn't go. Okay, so then there's two tabs here, two notches there, and I think that's it. All right, that holds that in place. Put your hip skirts back down, rotate your arms down, find the elbow, open up your wrist. Does it open at both? Yes, open up at both sides. Spin the wrist around, close at both sides. Bring this down, open up at both sides. Bring the wrist around, close at both sides, orient the elbow properly, flip down that plastic piece, flip the head up and over, and now this is ready to receive the prime, the smaller prime. Ginrai? I don't know, doesn't matter. The one that goes in there. For this guy, we gotta basically go back to truck mode. So open this up, close the hands, fold the hands in. Open this up, close the hands, fold the hands in, and open up your cab here. Take the head, rotate that up, spin it around. We have two pieces here that have to fold in. One is this, like the obliques, and the other part of the chest. Obliques, other part of the chest. And then you can put the head down, and then I think you can go ahead and connect that as well, and take the arms. Remember, we have this one piece here. This piece comes out, that piece stays forward. bring this around, this down. You can find out where this is supposed to go from following the red paint. Remember that there's this section here that bends around the bicep, right? And that goes in, and then this little Henri piece here sits inside. And then you're going to do the same thing on this side. Comes around, down. Remember to flip this piece out. This piece. Remember to break that connection at the bicep. This goes up and under. Sits inside the cab. This piece sits at the back. That piece fills in. I'll get that part cleaned up before we move forward. Real quick, remember to spin the waist 180. I forgot to do that and had to undo a little bit in order to get there. Okay, collapse the ankles. Fold the toe into the heel. Toe into the heel. Collapse the ankles. And then I think you're supposed to have this. I'm not sure that makes much of a difference, but we'll go ahead and do it for the sake of doing it. And you can connect all of this. All right. Now here, you want to fold the legs up. Make sure they're connected. And then engage that double jointed knee system, but you want to engage both sides of the knee. And you want where the knee comes off of the shin to be at a 90-degree angle. All right, here we go. Moment of truth. I've never had any company do this well. Let's see if this is any different. So I think you're just supposed to slot this in here. There we go. Progress. Progress. There. I think that's it. Belly plate comes up. Nope. I think I might have to sit in a little deeper. And then the Optimus head. That just slides on. Whew! Alright, sits over. And then that plate hovers. Let me see if I can't get that any better, but that's the steps. So I can't get this head flap to connect. The feet are locked in. They're pushed in. They're compressed as far as they can go. The bump outs on the truck are tucked within the appropriate kind of cavities here. The smokestacks are tucked within the appropriate cavities here. The only thing I can think to do is to push it further. So I'm going to do that on camera because the last couple times that I've done it, it pops out this side of it. And once it does that, it's a pain to get back in, and I'm not going to do it again. So here we go. Pushing. I'm going to pull this flap down. I mean, it's because I do feel like that side is sitting deeper in the cavity than this side. But I can't give you any rhyme or reason as to why, and I can't get this tab to stay tabbed in, which is unfortunate. So let's look at what we got regardless. I've never had a Powermaster Prime work properly. Every single one they make has issues. Like, let me keep my cool. Anyway, there's the head sculpt. I dig this one in particular. I like it better than the other two. Limited up for no reason. Good bit down. and then you get your swivel, and then you get your neck flap that pops up. And that doesn't stay on very well either. So your shoulders, you can lift this little piece up here, and then the shoulder itself will get up as well. And that gets you past 90 degrees. It also has a butterfly joint, or billify joint as we call it, and then a ratcheted 360 around. Bicep swivel with 2 shades of different reds, and then a single hinged elbow that gets you a little bit past 90 degrees with nice sculpted detail on the side there. Wrist swivel, fingers on a base pen knuckle for the bottom 3 that come out to a secondary knuckle, and then the trigger finger is independently articulated to the same degree. The thumb is connected to a hinge at the base, and that is it. Let's back out a little bit. Waist swivel, ratcheted, and ab crunch, which is nice. I think these stickers that he's applied came with it, by the way. Rotate the hip skirts up and out of the way to engage the hips, which are ratcheted out for the full Van Damme. Forward for the full Monty, but it is going to back into the backpack here. Also, this doesn't stay connected in any real meaningful way either. Thighs are painted silver and painted nicely, excuse me. Thigh swivel. Single hinged elbow with a knee with a great range and nice sculpted detail in the knee joint. I dig that. I also dig this little accent here. Stuff like that goes a long way with me. And then the ankle. So the ankle tilt is kind of this whole piece here, which could be worse. You get an ankle tilt down and an ankle tilt up, and then a 1 degree ankle rocker. So yeah, I don't know. Like most Powermaster Primes, color me not impressed. Let me show you what he looks like from the back before we do some size comparisons. And then size comparison wise, there it is next to the Magic Square Optimus, who now comes up to about the middle of the windshield here. So, you know, he's big. That's one thing he's got going for him. I'm not overall impressed, but he's large, so to speak. So if you wanted a big Powermaster Prime, there's another one available for you. Whether or not it's any good or not, who cares? But there is another one available out there. So, I have bad news. I broke a small tab that's on the smokestacks. They plug into the back of the legs. I didn't mention it in the transformation, but I did peg one in. I didn't peg the other in, but that one was protected. Then I took it out. Somewhere along the line, I broke it. I didn't even realize I broke it. I actually thought maybe I didn't, but I went back and watched the footage and edited the video and realized it was definitely there in the beginning. So, I broke it. Meaning, we're at 0, and the new record is 165. So that sucks over this thing of all things. Moving on to final thoughts. We'll start with the negative, of which I have a lot to say. For one, a lot of it doesn't stay stuck together, not to mention the tab of the head / neck plate that's supposed to go into the top of the cab. That, of course, is a problem. But also the side panels on the side of the legs, that's a problem. Getting the shoulders to stay where they're supposed to be in the Little Prime mode is a problem. Getting the waist to stay meaningful and connected in the Little Prime mode is a problem. Keeping the Powermaster stuck inside the abdomen is a problem. On top of that, let's talk articulation. The limited ankle rockers is almost inexcusable. Such a waste. Such a limit as to what you can do with this guy as a result. Paint and color systems are inconsistent to include the kind of burgundy that's used for the elbows versus the red that's used for the shoulders and forearms. Some of it's painted, some of it's not. This feels more in line with what I've been seeing from Takara as of late, which is to say a bunch of stuff that leaves me unimpressed. Unlike that Rodimus, which was amazing. This feels like Takara up to their old tricks, but I think this was Takara up to their old tricks before they got some new life blown into them, so to speak. The Powermaster Prime connection points between the cab and the trailer bot is something that has plagued Transformers for as long as I've been reviewing. There are very few that work effortlessly and even fewer that work effectively. Such a shame. Moving on to the positives, the transformation process is, with the exception of combining them, is a breeze, straightforward, the kind of stuff I would expect from Takara. But then again, they didn't finish off the abdomen of the single bot, so maybe had they done that, it would have been more of a challenge. The accessories integrate well, and they give you tons of them. Where it is painted, it's painted beautifully. The build is decent, once again, not combined, and the materials feel good. But it's still not enough for me to recommend this to you at all. More care needs to be put into combining the cab to the larger bot across the board. And Takara, I thought, would be the one to be able to circumvent it, and they could not. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.